What's up, guys? We're back today with a video, and it's a recap of the very first front row fight club event, Brawls by the Falls, a long overdue MMA event which was supposed to take place back in December of last year, December 18, and it was right when the new wave of COVID hit. I think it was Omicron or something like that when it first hit, and everything was shutting back down and like basically we were seeing everything close down and we were like whether we're gonna go to this event and it's gonna be the last event we attend for a while or it's just gonna get canceled at the last minute, and that's exactly what happened. Got canceled way in that took place, I believe, if I remember well. People had weighed in or were about to weigh in, so most of the people were on weight, and I believe the promotion paid out everybody, and like huge financial loss for the promotion. Absolutely gutting stuff, but they were able to scramble back, and we heard that the event was going to take place on June 25th of this year, which was Friday night, Saturday night, Saturday. I'm so lost. It was just Saint Jean Baptiste here in Quebec, so it's kind of vague which date we are and all of that stuff. But yeah, so Saturday, June 25th. And it was gonna be Brawls by the Falls. It was gonna be the same event, yes, but with different fights. And the event was booked. We had some very interesting matchups, to be quite honest. Jordan Balmir, the pro boxer, making his debut against Xavier Nash in a very tough fight. Louis Jourdain, the brother of Charles Jourdain, fighting Johan Segas, who had a viral internet knockout for a little while there, and many very interesting matchups. The pro debut of Mustafa Salizadeh, which was very anticipated, as the guy's like a top level wrestler. And man, like I feel like this event was just cursed, to be honest, because all these fights fell through, basically all of them. The only fight like in the headlining portion of the card that stuck was the headliner, was Michael Imperato against Keith Carson. And like, to be honest, from the first second I heard about this matchup, I knew exactly how it was gonna go, and it's exactly how it went. Keith Carson, and we can jump into it right now in the main event of the evening. He was coming from the United States to fight against Michael Imperato. The guy was 7-7 in pro MMA, a 7-7 record, and to be quite honest, was not on a good streak. Had basically lost three, four, five of his six last MMA fight, and was mostly boxing before getting that call and like coming back to MMA. His last MMA match was in 2020. Um, and like he had fought some good guys over there. He once was a kind of highly touted prospect with a 5-2, 6-2 record, but just started losing. And to some good guys like Boston Salmon, Jared Papazian, Alfred Kasakian, all some really good fighters. But he was losing to good fighters, and Michael Imperato is a good fighter, and then just went boxing. Like when you heard that guy is just coming back to MMA from boxing to fight a top level grappler, you just kind of gotta wonder like how much of grappling he's been doing, how many time he's been putting on his grappling game since the guy's boxing basically, and boxing to some very mitigated results too. So basically, that was kind of a squash match, and we kind of anticipated that it was going to be a squash match, and it was a squash match. Michael Imperato just instantly tapped the guy out, guillotine, mounted guillotine, just submitted the guy like it wasn't shit, and then called out everybody. And like, I love me some Michael Imperato. I'm just kind of sad that like we didn't get to see him in a fight, because like we all knew how this was gonna end, and it ended just like we thought it was gonna go. And man, it's like it just kind of sucks because like I know Eric Wilson would have been a way better fight for Michael Imperato, no doubt about it. Eric Wilson does not have a good record, does not win basically his fights lately, but he's good. He's a well trained, well prepared mixed martial artist who was gonna bring it, and was probably going to get tapped out too, to be quite honest, but was gonna give a better matchup to Michael Imperato than Keith Carson. But even with Eric Wilson, like I don't want to see these fights, to be honest, guys. Like I don't want to shit on the event or nothing. Like I said, it's been so tough, and every like legit competitive fight that they had booked for this event just fucking fell through, injuries, everything. Like it did not work. This event was cursed, and we were kind of left with that fight. But like when Michael Imperato's fighting, I want to see him fight the top level guys in Canada, and like I know it's a tough situation for him because like he's basically one of the only local guys that's in the top of the division. Like if you look at the top of the bantamweight division in Canada right now, like the best guys in Canada, there's like Brad Katona, but Brad Katona's under contract with Brave and he's their champion. Then you've got Xavier Laoui, who already fought with Michael Imperato, but I'd love to see that rematch, that's for sure, because it was a really good fight. But like Xavier Laoui under contract with UAE Warriors. You've got Jesse Arnett, I know he moved up, but same thing, fighting for a title at UAE Warriors. So like most of the top level guys that I'd like to see fight Michael Imperato and who would take a Michael Imperato fight, uh, they're under contracts with like international promotions and stuff. So then you gotta like move down to the other guys in the country at that 135 division. And you got like the Vinny Diaz and the Tisha Gautros and like you really want to take that fight when you're 4-0, 5-1, 4-1, those type of records. It's a huge fucking step up. So yes, I'd like to see guys step up and take that fight, because that's by taking these fights that you get to move up to the UFC. But like I understand these guys for not taking that fight at the stage that they're in. You'd like to be closer to a nine is to 7 to 9 pro fights before you get to fight a guy like Michael Imperato's been around for so fucking long. The guy has been fighting since 2010. He fought like the who's who of Canadian MMA fighters and from multiple generations. Like he's fought the Dimitri Wardenbergs and the Jesse Arnett's, and he's fought the Xavier Alaouis, and he's fought like the Mike McCalloons and Blake Chavez, which like that's basically 3 generations of fighters that we've seen. And Michael Imperato has fought them all. So you really want to be like more experienced to take that kind of fight. And like all that to say, Michael Imperato's kind of in a void right now because he's like the only top level Canadian bantamweight who is fighting locally. So all the other guys with similar records and who should take that fight and give us that fight, they're fighting elsewhere. They're fighting for Brave, for UAE Warriors, and the local guys, they're just not ready to take that step up in competition. So you just gotta find guys who are willing to take that fight. And Keith Carson was fucking willing to take that fight, and he came and he took that fight, and he got tapped in a minute or about a minute, not even. And then Michael Imperato took the mic, called the fuck out of everybody, including the UFC. But like as much as I'd like to see Michael Imperato go to the UFC, like it's not by winning a squash match on a kind of obscure local MMA event like that the UFC is gonna really take notice and say, "Oh, I need to bring this guy," especially since he was already signed to the UFC years ago. But like, we're not getting into this situation right now. That's a discussion for a whole nother day. I don't want to talk about that, but like it's just tough. He's kind of in a void, and I'd like to see Michael Imperato fight some guys that would give him a fight because he's good. He's one of the best fighter, one of the best grappler. He's super fucking exciting in the cage, and when he takes a mic and just starts to yell at everybody and say some super so like, I want to say offensive stuff, but like the guy just called the fuck out of everybody. And like he's got a way around his words, that's for sure. Michael Imperato can say stuff, and like that's a super good combination, and that's a guy that you want to see fight. But I just like to see him in fights, actually, not squash matches like this. But like I said, I'm not here to give blame basically on anybody for that, because front row, they tried, and they fucking tried to get this guy a fight, and it's just tough to get a Michael Imperato fight, and we got one. It wasn't competitive at all, and like if it would have been next to the Balmir Nash fight and next to the Jourdain Segas fight, we would have said, "Oh yeah, amazing performance by Michael Imperato." And then we had these fights. We just didn't get to have these fights, so we're kind of left on our appetite a little bit there in the main event, since there were only three other fights on the card, and we're gonna jump into these fights right now because, like, the co-main event of the evening deserves that we take some time to talk about it, because first, it was a really good back and forth fight. I thoroughly enjoyed that fight, to be quite honest. And I think we need to discuss the decision. I think we do need to discuss the decision, because I won't lie to you guys. First listen, I scored this fight 30-27 for Noah Crosswell. To be quite honest, I gotta say it. I felt like, yes, it was super back and forth. It's a fight where, like I said, we gotta discuss the decision, but I'm not here to get mad at the decision, because in every rounds, there are stuff that you can say, oh yeah, but that is the most significant thing that happened in that round. Therefore, I'm scoring that round for that guy. And like in every round, I think there's one clear round in that fight. And when I first watched it, I remember that round to be way more dominant than it was actually, like when because I just rewatched the fight just before filming this video and really took notes about stuff that happened. So let's get into it. Noah Crosswell, Gino Ghalehpardaz, a good fight, great fight. I really enjoyed it. First round, Gino comes in, gets a takedown at about a minute in, let's say 45 seconds to a minute in, gets a takedown, controls a little bit. Noah's able to get back up. Noah gets a takedown of his own about 30 seconds later. Gets a little bit of control, but Gino gets a super tight armbar, which he works on for almost a minute, because he gets the armbar around 220 of the very first round, and Noah is able to get out of the armbar at 133 of the first round, and he does it with a big slam. He's able to pick Gino up and slam him, and that's how he's able to get out of the armbar. They get back up. Noah gets a takedown of his own with less than a minute in the round, but 20 seconds after he gets the takedown, he gets reversed, and it's Gino who's now on top and is able to finish the round on top and get the strong visual on the judges for that first round. So, like, this first round is basically how you score this first round is how you score the fight. The winner of this first round is the winner of the fight, in my opinion. Because, like I said, the only clear round in that fight is the second round, and like the third round, we're gonna get to it. There's discussion to have on the third round too, but I feel like two and three, they're the easiest round to score, let's say like that. And this first round is basically impossible to score, in my opinion, because it depends. Like, what do you score? Do you score the armbar attempt, which was really good and really close by Gino, or you score the high impact slam defense by Noah Crosswell? Because if you exclude these two things from the round, we get a takedown and about a minute of top control for Gino. Then we get a takedown for Noah with another minute of top control. Then we get a Noah takedown, which is reversed about midway through the Noah's control for Gino, who gets control until the end of the round. So basically, it's dead even. It's dead even there. So what do you score? Do you score the armbar attempt, which was close, or do you score the slam defense by Noah? When I first watched it, I scored the first round for Noah. In my rewatch, I gave the first round to Gino. So 10-9 Gino first round. That's my score here. Let's move on to the second round. Second round, like I said, I really remembered it as a dominant Noah Crosswell round. And he started the round really good, landing some shots on the feet. And I think that's one big thing in that fight too, is that most of the important stuff, most of the important, like, changes of position, sweeps, reversals, whatever, happened in the grappling department. But almost every time that this fight was on the feet, which is not that much time, to be quite honest, but still, it was all in Noah's favor. He had a huge reach advantage, was able to pump his jab, to eat some, to land some clean left hands, to land some good kicks. I feel like Noah, like, really did a better job on the feet. So that's one thing to consider when you're scoring this fight too. So Noah starts off the round really well, lands some good shots, even some impactful shots, I'd say. Really, in the second round, that's the better striking round for Noah Crosswell. Lands some impactful shots. Gino attempts a guillotine, is able to transfer it to a close arm bar attempt. Noah escapes. Gino gets a takedown at about 3 minute 30 in the round. They scrambled a little bit. Noah gets up. Gino gets another takedown at 2 minute 55. Noah's up instantly, and then Gino misses another takedown attempt, and that's where Noah is able to sprawl and starts to hit some really good strikes on the ground. Gino counters with a very tight armbar attempt. To be quite honest, probably the best armbar attempt in the whole fight, but Noah's able to escape and continues to land some really good shots from top control, is able to bust Gino open. Gino reverses and gets back up as the round is able as the round comes to a close. But Noah keeps landing some really good shots on the feet and like really ends the second round looking like $1 million. Gino's busted up. He looks a little bit tired. He looks like he's kind of on auto mode. He's not even himself anymore in the fight. So at that point, 10-9 Noah Crosswell, clear Noah Crosswell round, because yes, Gino did a lot of good stuff for like the better half of the round, but when there was some impactful moments, some impactful shots, some damage being delivered, it was by Noah Crosswell, and you always gotta score damage first. So I say damage, but that's where it comes back to the first round argument, because if you score damage first, in the first round, Noah gets it because his slam defense was way more damaging than the R-bar attempt from Gino, which was good, was worked well on, but wasn't that close to being finished, I feel like, at any point. But if you score the round according to, and I think that's like the prime, in my opinion, I know it's not the scoring criteria, but in my opinion, the primary thing, even over damage, if somebody was close to finishing the fight, he should win the round. And I feel like with the armbar attempt in the first round, Gino was closer to finishing the fight than Noah, but Noah did more damage in his defense than Gino. So once again, impossible round to score. But second round, 10-9, clear round for Noah Crosswell. Then third round, it's all Noah again. Noah landing some good shots. Gino misses a takedown. Noah gets on top. Uh, Gino gets another armbar attempt. Noah escapes. They get back up. Noah lands some good shots. Gets another takedown with 1 minute left. He's been dominating the round, like absolutely dominating the round, but like not doing that much damage, but winning the striking, winning the grappling exchanges. He's just thoroughly winning that round. And then with 25 seconds left, Gino shoots for a triangle and is like that close to finishing it. Goes for the triangle armbar. Sees he's not gonna go get the armbar because he tried so many armbars in that fight. So gets the triangle again. Is pulling super hard on that, and he's really, really close to having it. Like the closer anyone has been to finishing that fight, basically. And bell rings. Noah is able to survive. And man, you gotta give this round to Gino. Like you just gotta give this round to Gino because yes, Noah basically won 4 minutes and 30 seconds of that round. But Gino was that close to finishing the fight. And like I just said, the guy who is the closest to finishing the fight should win the round. And Gino was that close to finishing that fight, to be honest. So I gotta give Gino that round. So first time I watched it, 30-27, Noah Crosswell. Second time I watched it, I'm actually scoring it 29-28 for Gino. So fuck, man. Who won that fight? Who won that fight? You guys tell me. You guys tell me. I'm not going. I got two scores, one each way. I'm keeping it like that. I'm not going for a third attempt to scoring that fight. Like I said, I feel like you gotta give Gino round three. If you tell me, nah, Noah's won 4 minutes and 30 seconds of round three, so I'm giving him round three. I'm not there to argue against you, but in my opinion, you gotta give Gino round three. Noah absolutely clearly won round two. Like I said, easiest round of the fight to score, and round one is just the closest round you'll ever get. So score it like you want, guys. Just do it. I won't do it, but in the end, great fight, amazing fight. But I just gotta address like two things regarding that fight. And I don't want to get back to being negative. I ate it, but I gotta keep it a buck. I'm here to keep it a buck. I'm here to keep it to say it like I see it. And like first there was a fuck up, like a logistical fuck up in that fight, and that's one thing like I want to address regarding the event, because the event looked amazing on stream. The stream, the image quality, the way that it was filmed, like the I want to say the editing, because it's live, so it's not edited, but like all the layouts and the TV production, the street, it was really good. It was really good, but the way that the event was ran was kind of rough, to be honest. I don't know if people in the arena were able to hear, but from the stream we were like basically able to hear the production on air. Like, okay, so 2 minutes in, 2 minutes, 1 minute and a half in, get this guy in the ring. So this guy has to be in the ring because we're 1 minute and a half in. Okay, let's make this guy walk out. Okay, 10 minutes till next fight. So we were kind of hearing the production, like the thing that often when, because I was calling the Samurai MMA event, and like I was hearing that stuff, but in my ears, like in my headset, I wasn't hearing it live, basically on the broadcast. So that was one thing. And like they really fucked up the entrances and everything for the Gino against Noah fight, because Gino was red corner, walked out first. Noah was blue corner, walked out second. Then when they got introduced by the announcer, he introduced in the blue corner Gino and in the red corner Noah, while the camera was filming Noah while they were saying, from London, Ontario, Gino Ghalehpardaz, and Noah was like stone faced there. And then they introduced Gino in the red corner, but so that was a kind of logistical fuck up. And like, not to come back to like the quality of the fights on the event, but that was the better fight on the event. That was the most well booked fight on the event. That was everything. But when you like, if you want to compare, let's just compare for a moment. Like, and I know front row is their first event, like it's tough to compare them to fucking unified MMA, but let's just compare them to Samurai at their first event, like November last year, just had their second. Let's just compare the two. They're both doing all pro MMA events, and like Gino against Noah would have been an amazing like opener or second to third fight on the event. And like when then you get this fight, oh, that was a good little fight, and that then we've got some more eye level fights coming, because like I don't want to say these guys are not eye level, because it was a good fight. Those guys were well prepared, well trained, good pro fighters. Thing is that's not like a co-main event caliber fight, you know. It's just not. These guys are super early in their careers. Like Gino had 2 fights, Noah had 2 fights too. They both have 3 fights now, basically. And there was like, oh, they were 0-2 and 1-1. So it's not like these two guys are 2-0 there and they're all already tearing through some amazing competition or nothing. So like I said, this event was cursed. This event was cursed badly, and we didn't get to see the eye level fights that we wanted to see. We were kind of left with these fights, but just when you talk about like the general MMA level on that event was like not up to par to what we see from other promotions. But let's just say keep it at that. Like I said, I'm not putting the blame on anybody, because there were so many things happening with this event, like injury and pulling out and not making it to fight night, and everything is, it was, like I said, it was cursed, man. But let's move on, because we got 2 other fights left. And okay, man, to be quite honest, I don't want to, yeah, I'll do it reverse. I feel it's better like that. Let's go to the first fight of the evening: Nate Ledger, Marco Carlotti. And like, when you talk about like the level of MMA here, is that, and like, let me just make it clear, I love Nate. I no, I love Nate Ledger. I love him. He's a good fighter who has been very unlucky in his pro career. He's well trained. He's always prepared to fight. And like, either if he's fighting one of the best prospects in his division, or a another guy which looks to be more of his caliber, He's always there to put on a show. He's always there to fight. He's had a very good fight with Benabi Otoru, who we've seen like went to a split decision with Tommy Morrison. Like Tommy Morrison is considered like the best flyweight prospect we've seen in a while in Canada, and he went the distance in a very close fight with Benabi Otoru. And Benabi fought Nate Ledger, and it was kind of close. Benabi won, but he got that close to getting finished at the end of the fight. So just saying like the difference between all these guys is not that big. But Nate Ledger was still like a 0-5 flyweight coming into this fight. And he was replacing his teammate Seth Connor at 145 against a guy that's 6 feet tall in Marco Carlotti. And then Marco had nothing for him. To be honest, like I don't want to. I got immense respect for like fighters who go into the cage and just do that stuff. But bro, that was like one of the less well prepared fighter I've seen on the pro scene in a while. Because basically the guy is a 145er who's fighting a 0-5 flyweight, who's good, who's always well prepared and competitive, but he's losing to some mid-level flyweights, and you're a 45er. And you come in there and you just pump your jab, and Nate's just staying in that range. And every time you pump your jab, he's countering you and he's beating you. And like Marco Carlotti did not have nothing for Nate Ledger. And I'm super happy for Nate. I'm super fucking happy because, like I said, he's been unlucky. He's had some unfavorable matchups. He's had some unfavorable situations that just turned weird into fights and made him lose. And, like, basically, Nate Ledger deserved to have a better record than 0-5, but he still came in as a 0-5. And like, you gotta really love what you do to be 0-5 as a pro and keep on fighting and taking short notice fights like he just did. And finally paid out for him. Lands the head kick, follows through with the strikes, the ground and pound, gets the second round the TKO. But man, like Marco Carlotti was not ready for that fight, was not in good condition for that fight, was not well prepared for that fight, and had absolutely nothing for a 0-5 flyweight. And that could be the worst performance I've seen on the local Canadian scene this year, if it wasn't for the fight after, because I don't know where Akbar Navavizadeh came from. But like when I first heard his name against Mathieu Langlais, I was like, "Oh shit! Are they giving Mathieu Langlais like a high level Iranian wrestling champion or whatever?" Because you know these guys from Iran, we were supposed to see the Mustafa Salizadeh on that card, who is like a one of the highest level Iranian heavyweight champion wrestler that you're gonna see. And like I was like, oh, are they giving that guy to Mathieu Langlais? That's kind of rough, man. Mathieu Langlais deserves like a better than that. Like he's a cool action fighter. We want to see him stand and bang, not see him like get out wrestled for 15 minutes by a wrestling fucking champion or some stuff like that. So I was kind of worried, to be quite honest. Then I seen Akbar in some pictures, and I was like, ooh, looks kind of old. Looks kind of old, but you never know with these guys. Like you never know. Maybe he's just like looking like Jacare, like a lighter Jacare, but the guy's like fucking 29 or 30 years old. Then the event starts and he walks out, and they say that like the guy came here with his wife and his dog, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, that's a red flag. That's a red flag right there for you. And then the fight starts, and like bro basically looked like a UFC fighter back in 1997. Like the way he moved, the way super awkward, super janky. Like the guy looked like a old school MMA fighter from like the first or second UFC event. Basically, the way that he moved, that like I'm not even gonna lie, Mathieu Langlais was kind of flustered in the beginning, and like the way that Akbar was moving and doing stuff, Mathieu Langlais didn't look like he quite knew what to do with that weird ass fucking old school style. And Akbar was able to land some shots here and there because Langley was just, what the fuck am I doing with that? Like, where's this guy coming from? Where is he training? What is he doing? Because Like, man, he looked janky and he looked like super foot slow and awkward and like not that prepared to be quite honest. Like, just the way that he moved and stuff, like that guy did not look like he was gonna go 3 rounds, to be quite honest. And Langlais ate a couple shots and said, "Okay, he's not gonna knock me out." So he just came in and absolutely destroyed that fucking guy. Like a competent pro level MMA fighter should do to a guy who should not be a pro MMA fighter, and that's basically what we saw. So in the end, that's why I don't want to be like too critical. I feel like I've been negative in that video a lot, but like that event was 4 fights. The two first fights was like a pro level fighter with a losing record, but a pro level fighter in Nate Ledger and Mathieu Langlais against guys who are basically, in my opinion, either not pro level, either not well prepared, or just both. And then we had the Gino Nora fight, which was great, which I have nothing bad to say against. Good matchup, good performance for both. And man, commentators saying calling Noah no show Noah, that was a brutal call. I found it funny, not gonna lie. I found it absolutely hilarious that they had the just the balls to say that before this fight, like no show Noah. That's kind of brutal, guys, man. You kind of did the owe me dirty here. Like not that it's not deserved, because he did no show one fight, I remember quite well, but he did show up for that fight, fought his ass off, probably even deserved to win, like my first score of that fight would indicate. But unfortunately for him, and fortunately for Gino, Gino got the win. But amazing fight, nothing bad to say against it. And then the main event was a squash match, which we all know what would happen. It happened exactly like we thought. So, like, man, Michael Imperato's back. He's in action. He's active. Somebody who exists, please fight him because I want to see it. So that was my recap. Um, can't wait to see what's next, to be honest, for front row, because like in the end, stream was looking really good. The TV production was really great. The image quality, everything, that it was super great. Only thing is, like, I'd rather not hear the production live on, like, there's a guy running the show live on the broadcast. I'd rather not hear that. And then of course, maybe, like, yeah, like I said, I'm not putting blame on the promoter. I am not putting blame on the promoter for that one, because man, everything that they tried to do that was really cool, it all fell through. It basically all fucking fell through. So, not blaming the promoter, but like, it was a very low level pro MMA event. Like, I've seen some amateur fights that were higher level than some of the earlier fights, like on that card, unfortunately, because sometimes when you get the amateur belts and the guys, they're both guys that are super ready to turn pro and they're fighting for amateur titles. So yes, I've seen amateur fights that were way higher level than some fights on that card, especially the two first fights. And then the Gino Noah fight, really good fight, nothing bad to say again about it. And Michael Imperato squash the guy. I want to see him in some better competition. But like I said, can't wait to see what's next for Front Row Fight Club, because they tried to do some really cool stuff, all fell through, all fell apart. So, like, the thing that they gotta say is that this event, they did it. It's done. It's behind them. It was cursed. It was not supposed to happen, and it happened. They fought through it. They pulled it through. So I give them major props, and just wish them better luck for the second one, because if they had luck on their side, it would have been a way better event. Like, way better event. So can't wait to see what's next for the second event. I'm sure that the guys at front row are gonna pull some really good matchups out of this, some really good stuff. Even maybe trying to rebook some fights that were due for the first card that were super interesting. So we never know, but can't wait to see what's next for front row. That's my recap. Leave me a like if you like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. If you don't want to, then fucking